Hey, what's up? It's Bon. Today we're going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3 and how I think it's going to directly impact, hopefully, the way that romances are done in the next Mass Effect and likely lots of other RPGs in the coming years. Now, Baldur's Gate 3, obviously a huge topic right now. As of today, when I'm recording this, its Metacritic score had taken over Tears of the Kingdom. It hit over 800,000 people playing it at once on Steam. It's getting talked about everywhere. A big part of it is that it's pulled in people like me, people who don't like turn-based games, people who don't like medieval or high fantasy aesthetics and things like that. But someone like me who, I'm loving this game, and I'm seeing a lot of people like me who are in that same boat. And I think that the same way that games like Breath of the Wild were influential to every game made after it, I think that Baldur's Gate 3 has probably already attained that aura or that feel. And what's so impressive about it is that it's coming from a genre that, RPGs are obviously very popular, but this turn-based like D&D RPG really isn't. And this is the first game, at least that I have noticed, that's hit this big. Now, specifically talking about romances and stuff, I'm really curious to how this game's going to impact the future and how romances are handled. Because, I'm seeing a lot of people praise the romances in this game, and I think they're great. My character is romancing. If you're playing the game Shadowheart, had a little fling with Lae'zel. Definitely interesting in Karlach, but I think her story goes interesting directions. And so what's so interesting about it is that as I've played through this game, I'm more hours in than I'd like to admit already in Act 2, is that in some ways the romances are exactly the same as a game like Mass Effect, like the trilogy, where you run out of things, new things for the partners or the people you're interested in. They run out of things to say relatively quickly. You hit pretty long spells where conversations just are the same thing over and over, which is no different than what we saw back in the days of the Mass Effect trilogy and other games that have had romances and stuff that can play out. And even in some other ways, there is a almost Paragon and Renegade system where you can say the good thing, the bad thing. You can use checks and stuff on the various stats that your character has and stuff to go one direction or the other with conversations. But where this game differentiates itself a little bit, and actually looks a lot like a game like Dragon Age, like Inquisition, is that this game includes your direct behaviors and actions and things you're doing, and the whole so-and-so approved of that or so-and-so disapproved of that, and the little meter in your character sheets that says how much a certain character is connected to you or approves of you. It implements that, which isn't itself unique either. Game like I said, Dragon Age has that. Mass Effect, the trilogy, sort of did with, it didn't really care about your Paragon or Renegade meter, but on decisions you had made and choices you had made that, it could impact whether or not someone would want to romance you. What Baldur's Gate 3 has done so well is that it's taken all of the ways that other games have handled romances and put them together. So you have a large number of characters that you can be involved with. You have the approve and disapprove system. You have the checks when you're speaking to them. You have just normal conversations and making sure you check in at this camp that you can't, you do camp outs to regain all your health and spells and all that stuff. And that's where interactions can happen. These are all things that aren't that unique. I would say the one thing that is the most unique for me is how the interaction between the characters, like them flirting and them having rivalries, and how that kind of impacts romances as they go forward and such. It's not that they're doing anything super innovative. They're just doing all of the things really well. And so that's where you look at a game like the next Mass Effect and things like that, where maybe they won't come up with the most dynamic, most amazing romance system that's ever been made, but maybe they could at least do all of the things that have been done before but do them extremely well, like Baldur's Gate 3 has done. The fact that you can say things or do things in Baldur's Gate 3 that will make your companions and potentially romance partners leave your party or fight you or fight each other and kill each other. And it's the fact that it is relatively dynamic, and it's not as kind of black and white, or pick one choice, one or two, the way you kind of can in the Mass Effect trilogy. In this one, there just seems like there's a lot more going on, and while it isn't the most complicated thing, there are still unexpected things that happen, and the choices you make matter. And I think that's maybe beyond even the romances in Baldur's Gate 3, and something that I think we would all like to see in the next Mass Effect, is for all of the choices to matter. So much of the controversy of the end of the Mass Effect trilogy is that it felt like so many of the choices you made didn't matter. That was due a lot to especially Mass Effect 3 being pretty rushed in development. I have a feeling there were a sad amount of things left on the cutting room floor that they wanted to do to try to bring that feeling of the things that you did mattered. I think what Baldur's Gate 3 does so well, and how I'll kind of try to wrap this video up, is it just does, it makes everything matter. It makes everything feel consequential. Therefore it really makes you want to play the game over and over again. And it provides really sweet characters. There's one character that comes off very early as very mean and nasty, and then she softens up. It's kind of a Jack arc from the Mass Effect trilogy. And then there's other characters that come off as kind of sweet, but they've got kind of a rough background, and it's just and on top of that, I guess before I end this, it also helps to have insanely good animations and graphics, insanely ridiculously good voice actors and writing, and it's really cool. And I really hope that the next Mass Effect game and a bunch of other RPGs are still early enough in their development that those devs can play this game and be like, wow, this is really cool. So even if they don't want to copy what Baldur's Gate 3 is doing, they're at least inspired by what Baldur's Gate 3 has done, and they want to top that or match it or do something different, but is still inspired by what's been done. I really like Baldur's Gate 3. Even if you don't like turn-based games, even if you don't like high fantasy and stuff, I highly suggest it. It's worth every penny I've spent on it. And it's a game that is going to help tide me over until Starfield comes out, which hopefully will have another really cool new system when it comes to interactions and romances and stuff. And then both of those games will hopefully hold me and you out until the next Mass Effect comes out, and maybe Dreadwolf too. So I just wanted to talk about this for a minute. I thank you so much for listening. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you want more gaming videos, please subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments or you just want to say hello, do that down in the comments below. I do have a weekly gaming podcast called The EchoCast. It's on this very YouTube channel and on all podcast platforms. You can find me all over the internet as Bon Diesel, including over on Twitch and Twitter. And that's all I have for this one. So until next time.